It's a well-known fact at this point that Paris Saint-Germain, the Ligue 1 giants, are in fact owned by the Qatar state. This is not new information to anyone who's been a football fan in the past decade or so, or maybe even before that. However, there are now news reports making rounds that Qatar are looking to diversify their football portfolio, and that means investing in new football clubs. Now, I know what a lot of y'all might be thinking. I mean, that sounds like great news on paper, and it could very well turn out to be good from a financial perspective, but in every other way possible, this is the kind of move that spells disaster for the sport, not just in the short term, but also the long term. So, who are these clubs that PSG's owners are reportedly interested in, and what exactly would be the way that things would work for these clubs, given that the Qatari owners already have a full stake in PSG? That's exactly what it is that we're going to be talking about in this here video. So without further ado, let's just get down straight to business. And so the main thing is that the Qatari state, which of course has very successfully invested in Paris Saint-Germain, are interested in moves for, or have been linked with, investing minority stakes in clubs like Manchester United and Liverpool. Why exactly is that big news? Well, because Manchester United and Liverpool are two of the most successful clubs in the world, but beyond that, they've also been linked with by minority stakes in Tottenham Hotspur. Now again, if you're with me at this point, you must be hearing the word minority stakes a lot, and the simple fact is they have to only buy minority stakes because they own the entirety of PSG, and that means that European footballing law requires that they cannot own another club in its entirety. That's just the way it works. So in that sense, PSG's owners cannot, quite frankly, own the entirety of whether it be Manchester United, Liverpool, Tottenham, whichever club it is that they choose to invest money in. They can only buy a certain amount. They can buy minority stakes, and then and only then can they invest money into these clubs in, of course, the manner of which is there in the laws. So that's the big talking point to begin with. But why exactly are the Qatari state suddenly so interested in investing in the English Premier League and specifically these clubs? Now, first off, it is worth noting that the Qatar FIFA World Cup, despite the fact that there was a lot of controversies, there were a lot of off-field issues, a lot of drama, in general, the tournament is seen as a big success for the state of Qatar, and that success is something that they now want to capitalize on and build upon. More importantly than that is the fact that the Premier League is one of the most watched leagues in the world of football, and it has a lot of superpower clubs who attract global fan bases, and that naturally would be of interest to the Qatari owners of PSG. And now might be the best time to invest for a third reason, that being, of course, the fact that England have a very shaky economy in recent times. In fact, if you've been following world politics, you'd know about the fact that it is their economic turmoil that has led to them having two prime ministers in the span of 6 months' time. So it's not exactly been smooth sailing for the English clubs, and generally speaking, the pound is very weak right now. So if anyone wanted to invest into England, now would be the best of times, because there is scope for growth and, more importantly, return on investment and more visibility, which is exactly what the Qatar Sports Foundation, the sporting wing of the Qatari state, wants. But all of this may sound good in theory, but is this something that is really, really good for the sport of football? I'll answer it in one simple way: no. Quite frankly, it's not something that even if you're a supporter of Manchester United, Liverpool, Tottenham, you should not be wanting this, for the one simple reason that sporting integrity then absolutely will go for a toss. Quite frankly, if you're going to have two major clubs owned by exactly the same owners, then what exactly does that have to say about the way that football, or football's broken club model is that anyone with money can sweep in and just acquire as many clubs. And truth be told, you have seen that happen. I mean, the Red Bull group own a number of clubs across Europe, although of course, as I said, they probably only control one of those clubs in a full majority stake. Others would be minorities, but this does show that there is a loophole in place that allows for these clubs to invest, or for these owners rather, to invest money in, and of course dip their fingers in multiple pies. But perhaps the biggest issue is the fact that sports washing, now this is a term that has been doing the rounds a lot and was in fact used a lot for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Now, Anything that is linked to the Qatari state will of course be an attempt at sports washing, which means cleaning up the image of the nation by the use of sports. This is a very common phenomenon that has been in effect in the Middle East, and in fact especially Qatar. Not only do they have a football club, they now host a Formula 1 race, they've hosted a MotoGP race for years. They want to add more than one football club to actually spread that message that, Qatar, you should visit Qatar, wonderful state, gloss over all of the problems that exist still in those Middle Eastern nation states, which to be fair is exactly what is also being done by the owners of Manchester City and also the Saudi owners of Newcastle United. So sports washing is perhaps one of those major issues that should be ringing off alarm bells in everyone's heads, and if it doesn't, then really the sport of football is a lost cause. And truth be told, there is still nothing concrete on the table yet, but if you're a fan of football, if you're a fan of sport in general, if you're a fan of the sport being just that, a sport, rather than just an expensive plaything for nation states or people with a lot of money, then you should really hope that this isn't a move that goes through and it's one that falls through. Now, of course, don't forget, Spurs would seem a very likely destination because the club have a lot of debt due to, of course, building that new stadium. But even Manchester United and Liverpool are up for sale, so you could very well see at least minority stakes being accrued in those. If that does happen, then obviously the sport is heading in a very, very wrong direction, one that, truth be told, it has been heading in for quite some time. But now might just be the best time to course correct. Whether or not that happens, that's something that we can only hope for. But if it doesn't, then well, it's bad days for everyone who loves the sport. But that's just how I feel about all of this. What do you guys think? Well, you can let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tap that bell icon so you know when it is we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Then you can also go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And last but not least, download the AajTak app. Thank you all once again for joining us. I hope to see you with us and as you enjoy some more videos on our channel. But for now, goodbye.